Yeah.
Hey everyone, it's me, Tucker72 here, and for today's video, so I want to talk about this at the moment with you guys, and we all know that next week we will be getting the final DLC character revealed, being presented by Masahiro Sakurai next week. And I say the final one, because once the final character is out, then Ultimate will be officially finished as Sakurai stated from time and time. And ever since the announcement of the final character being revealed for next week, everyone has been speculating and predicting on who the character might be, and especially with some leaks saying that Sora could be the final character. For this one, I want to be avoiding all of that. You all know that I've been trying my best to predict, not to predict Treasure Pack 11, because this is going to be the final character. And plus, when it comes to leaks, I'm going to be making this leak free, because yes, that means I'm also going to be avoiding the Sora not being the final character leak, because even though he might be the character that could end off the second Fighters Pass, I think I really need to just avoid leaks for now and to see how Nintendo really chooses their final DLC character. And plus, I'm going to be mentioning things that I've talked about before when it comes to Challenger Pack 11, such as, for example, whether or not the final character could be second or first, or first or third party, or maybe the release date of the final character, since not only the presentation will give out the character, but also its release date. So, with that, there's just going to be a lot of things to discuss about the final character, and so with that, let's not waste time, let's just get started with the whole discussion. So the first thing I want to talk about is when they first announced the presentation coming next week, they also notified us that the presentation will be roughly 40 minutes long right here. And you might be asking, why is this important exactly? Well, that's because that with all the characters that has been presented in the first and second Fighters Pass, except for Joker, every single one has a time length duration depending on how much content it has. But the top 3 ones that has the most time length duration when it comes to their presentations being presented by Sakurai were Kazuya, Steve and Alex, and Harry Bogard, because these three characters have pretty complex movesets, such as Steve's crafting ability, for example. So the fact that this is 40 minutes long makes me think that the character could just be a character that is somehow simple. When Sakurai presents, usually he mostly does other modes to show up the character's moveset even more, right after they showed up the stage and the moveset exactly. But I think this could be a character that might at least be a complex one, given that this is 40 minutes, and this is the same duration of time as Kazuya has. But that's just kind of a theory that was mentioned to me in one of my comments a few days ago. But also, they did say that they will also be revealing the character's release date. Given that all characters that might come out before the end of 2021 makes me think that it could either be somewhere in October. Because, let's be clear, when it comes to these past presentations, usually when the characters gets announced, and Sakurai usually shows up the release date, it's usually either today, sometimes either tomorrow, next week, or a couple weeks after. Like Violet has his presentation back on January, but didn't come out until the end of that said month. That also goes the same for Kazuya, except when his character was shown off, he wasn't available until a day after. So the release date could just be a simple thing, whether it could be possibly next week, because I bet you it could possibly that the character might come out next week once it gets announced. But that's just my prediction, but I want to see if you guys want to predict when do you think the release date might really be. And I did state it that I wasn't going to be predicting of who the final character could be, but that doesn't mean I won't be talking about its Mii costumes. So the Mii costumes, not only will we also be getting the fighter's release date, and especially the character announcement, we will also be getting its final Mii costume wave, and the Mii costume wave is a bit of a mixed bag to me. Because Mii costumes sometimes are only dependent on which character they mostly represent. Examples such as Joker and Hero, who represents their series Mii costumes with Dragon Quest or Persona related, with Joker having a mix of Sega related stuff like Tails and Knuckles Mii costumes. But some characters such as Banjo-Kazooie, Pyra, Mitra, and Kazuya all have Mii costumes that doesn't really represent their series whatsoever. I definitely get Banjo-Kazooie, but Kazuya and Pyrometer are a very mixed one because I thought they were gonna give out costumes that are related to Xenoblade Chronicles 2 or something Xenoblade related, and especially Tekken costumes. I was surprised they didn't give out a Jinmi costume, but it just depends on whatever the character they revealed. Like, for example, if they will reveal a Crash Bandicoot sort of character reveal, then they would be giving out characters that is me costumes that would either be related to Crash Bandicoot or not related to Crash Bandicoot. It's a mixed bag on whether or not. And I bet you, because I know it pains for me to say, because if it's not Sora, then I would not mind Sora being a Mii costume. Being a sword fighter, and I don't really care if he's even a sword fighter, as long as he is in Smash Brothers, that's fine by me whatsoever. And now that I think about it, the next thing I want to talk about is the possibilities of the final character being a first and third party rep. In the past month, I did talk about on whether or not the character could just be a first party or third party. Let's first talk about the first party characters. So far for each pass, we've got them two from that is affiliated with Nintendo, if you want to count Piranha Plant as one of them. And Piranha Plant and Violet represent the first character at the first Fighters Pass with its first party characters, and Min Min and Pyramitra are the two characters that represents the second Fighters Pass with Nintendo. And when it comes to its first party characters, it's a mixed bag depending on its feedback. Because when it comes to first-party characters, they mostly get a mixed reaction from the community. For example, Violet I think we all know how many people were disappointed from Violet's reveal, not only because he was a Fire Emblem character, but also because that he was the final character for the first Fighters Pass. Pyramitra also had some mixed reactions of hype, disappointment, and pretty okay and some average about the character. Kind of same goes with Min Min, while Piranha Plant had the most what the heck sort of reaction when it comes to the first party characters. So what I'm trying to say is that it's a mixed reaction on how they represent the series. And now that I think about it, some people are predicting that the character could be a Pokemon rep, because if they predict the character to be a Pokemon rep, then they would be ready for the disappointment. And I can definitely understand that, given how that we got to not only that many Mario characters and Fire Emblem characters, but we also got a lot of Pokemon characters if you want to come to Pokemon Trainers Pokemons as separate characters. And first party characters are characters that either just could be disappointing, or it could be something that's hype. But as long as it's not, a Fire Emblem character, because I don't want to deal with another Violet thing again, because when it comes to Fire Emblem, I just don't want to deal with another reaction that goes the same with Violet. So I would not mind for the character to either be from a Kirby series, or maybe, I don't know, The Legend of Zelda, heck, even Pokemon itself, because I do agree with maybe the final character being Pokemon, but I just have to wait and see. But when it comes to third party reps, they are mostly the big excitement, because third-party characters are never affiliated with Nintendo, obviously. Characters like Steve and Joker are characters that are very hype, and characters like Banjo-Kazooie are from a third-party franchise, even though Banjo was originally a second-party franchise, even before Microsoft bought Rare, but that's off topic. What I'm saying is that that third-party characters might at least be the most exciting part to end off the final character roster, and especially when it comes to the variety of different franchises like Halo, Crash Bandicoot, Kingdom Hearts, heck, even Sly Cooper or Spyro the Dragon, heck, Ratchet and Clank. These are very possible characters that are from a third-party rep, but that only goes to negotiations now that I think about it. But that begs the question, will the final character be exciting, average, or just disappointing? The reason I ask that is because Smash Brothers in the past has an odd history of ending characters off with the most honest and really disappointing way as possible. I mean, some were not disappointing, but they just kind of felt a bit okay to some of the fans I saw from whenever these characters get announced. We all know Violet was the character that pretty much got fans very, very angry and disappointed because of how he ends up the first Fighters Pass. Incineroar also had a mixed bag of reactions, with some actually being happy of Incineroar's inclusion, with one of them being me, because even though I prefer either the Decidueye or Incineroar, I had to choose one Incineroar because it really makes sense to me, and it was also because of the Grinch leak, and no, I'm not even gonna, and I know I'd stated not to talk about any leaks, but there are some that were disappointed because the Grinch leak didn't come true, which I find that pretty stupid because I didn't believe it to begin with, to be honest. And when it comes to Incineroar, the way he ended off the base roster for Ultimate was a mixed bag of excitement, but also some that were disappointed. Heck, even characters like Bayonetta and Corrin. Corrin, I think we all know why everyone is hated, why this character was hated, not because he was Fire Emblem, but it was also because that he was one of the other two characters that ended up the final character roster for Smash 4. Bayonetta was acceptable, but some that were still disappointed because some were only expecting a character that could end up Smash 4's roster. And yes, I am aware that Bowser Jr. and Duck Hunt's reveal came out, but Shulk was the character that actually ended off the base roster for Smash 4. And for Bowser Jr. and Duck Hunt, those character trailers came out right after Smash Bros. For 3DS came out. And heck, even back when Brawl was out, Olimar was the final character to end up the base roster for Smash Brawl. Which, I mean, yes, it was kind of funny to see Olimar being a fighter, but it felt such a disappointing thing to end up Brawl when it comes to different characters like Wolf, maybe Lucario. These characters would at least be interested to end off the base roster. Heck, imagine if Cloud was the final character to be revealed back when Smash 4 was out. Those are characters that, would have at least leave off the high note. So what I'm trying to conclude here is that Smash Bros. Has a really odd pass of characters that are ended off the entire roster. And like I said before, some were really disappointed, some were already preparing the disappointment of a Pokemon rep coming as the final character, but most were hopeful for characters like Master Chief still Sora, and some characters like Rayman and all, but overall, I really think it shows how Nintendo. I feel like Nintendo is probably aware about the fans' feedback and all. And we gotta remember, most of the characters that were shown off there, such as most of the characters for the first and second Fighters Pass, were all chosen by Nintendo, with the exceptions of Joker and Terry, since those characters were specifically chosen by Sakurai, and Min Min because the producer of ARMS chose it. But the character is all dependent on whether or not Nintendo knows their audience's, hopes and dreams. And I'm trying to keep my expectations low, and that's really something to say because, I expected that the last character to at least be disappointed, but overall, this is all I have to say about the final character. So I want to know all your opinions down below on what you guys think. Who do you all think the final character could be? Could it be a character that might be from the first-party company like Nintendo, or different third-party companies like maybe Square Enix, or or Activision? Maybe some companies that might represent third-party franchises. And when do you think the character might come out? I want to know all your opinions down below about it. And so with that, leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more videos, follow my Twitter, and I'll see you guys next time. And remember this: once a legend, always a legend. Like a Hellcat.